Is this the end of the Houston Astros dynasty? And listen, I know you're laughing because
I'm laughing because it's one season where they don't make the ALCS
Correct.
in 7 years. That's why it's funny.
Yeah. And this has also been, like I feel like every season everyone's like, well, is that the last time?
Yeah.
And I think it's partially because we all want it to be the last time.
Right.
This is no disrespect to Houston fans, but fuck, give me something different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's one
this
of those.
was different.
Yes, exactly.
We exited
right?
first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we're all kind of like, okay, we're relieved.
Yeah.
It's refreshing. Somebody else is going to win the World Series this year. Seriously. But there's a lot of people that are going to be leaving this Houston Astros team in the next couple of years, this offseason specifically. Yusei Kikuchi, big-time trade acquisition. The GM already came out and said that could not be coming back. Like, there's a good chance that he's not going to be coming back. Alex Bregman, longtime Houston Astro, and has shown up in the biggest moments for them year in and year out. Very good chance that he is going to be leaving that team and going somewhere else in free agency. I got an article up here talking about how Houston Astros ace Framber Valdez is being floated as a potential trade piece this offseason. He's only got one more year left.
He's got one more year
on his contract. Like, there's a lot of players here that are going to be coming up on expiring contracts, and it could be time to, like, have a bit of a change of I guess, personnel.
Right. Well, also Justin Verlander, who they also traded from the Mets, a year ago.
Yeah.
So he is also going to be gone. And then, looking at the year after, like you brought up, Valdez is one of them. Jose Urquidy, he's one of them. Kyle Tucker, what are they going to do with him? Are they going to sign him?
That needs to be an extension, man.
You got to extend him.
You have to do that. I'm also genuinely shocked as well, like seeing some of this stuff about Framber Valdez. Like, for me, that's just a guy, like, that's a homegrown ace for you. Ever since he came up, he's been really, really damn good. Like,
I think that's kind of silly. You don't trade that guy because then it's really like, oh, now we're going into a rebuild.
Yeah.
When you still got a lot of pieces, like, sure, Yusei Kikuchi was great for you down the stretch, but, like, I hate to be disrespectful to Yusei Kikuchi, but, like, you could go get a replacement. You can go and get your one replacement there. Alex Bregman obviously is huge. That's a huge part of your identity.
That is a big piece,
right? So, like, that might hurt a little bit, and the bigger thing here, and they bring it up in this article, is they kind of traded away their hopefully replacement of Alex Bregman. Like, they traded away, some depth in their system when they traded for Yusei Kikuchi. Like, Will Wagner was supposed to come up and play some, like, corner ball for them. Obviously, you had Loperfido, but he's not a corner guy at all. But, like, you had guys that were, and then you also traded away Jake Bloss. There was supposed to be those replacements. So it kind of, like, sped up, I guess, their window closing. Also, to kind of finish off right here, the other guys leaving them as well in a year. You got Ryan Presley leaving them in a year. Hector Neris is leaving them in a year. So bullpen pieces too.
Yeah.
So for me, I wouldn't say push the panic button right away if I'm like a Houston Astros GM. Maybe do a couple smart retoolings but after 2025, it is serious. It's getting a little bit more serious where this could be kind of the end of the window of this Houston Astros dynasty because everyone else that's coming up other than Yordan Alvarez, like no one is. Jake Myers is pretty good, and I obviously like Jeremy Pena's defense, but no one else is really wowing me to the level of that we've been used to seeing, like a Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, George Springer in his prime, Carlos Correa. They're good players, but not like that dynasty superstar level.
No, I definitely hear you on that, man. And I mean, like, yes, looking at a lot of these contracts, like, it is concerning. And if I'm a Houston Astros fan, I am starting to wonder, well, are the best years behind us? Now, I will say I still really believe in that coaching staff, like what they did with Yusei Kikuchi. Yes, obviously you need to give credit to Yusei Kikuchi, but I think that that's more credit to the pitching staff.
Yeah.
Because Toronto had that guy not even just Toronto. Seattle had that guy for years. Toronto had that guy for years. And all of a sudden he goes over to you and is a completely different guy, and you changed everything about his pitching arsenal.
Right.
That is credit to that pitching coach, to that pitching staff. And I think that you're right. You can find somebody like that on free agency who you like their stuff, and you can kind of mold it into the best possible version of themselves. Right. So I'm not too worried about the pitching. I do think that the Alex Bregman loss is going to be something that's felt, and you're going to need to find a way, whether it be internally or whether it be through some other free agent acquisition or whether you just want to like re-sign the guy. I know that the vibe is probably not going to happen. But that's something that needs to be dealt with. Kyle Tucker needs to stay a Houston Astro.
Yeah, that's why you're not signing Alex Bregman, because you're waiting to pay for
Probably.
that guy.
I think that's exactly what you're thinking, right? So there's just a lot of moving parts right now and a lot of moving pieces, and that's why I think this has started to become a conversation. And of course, getting swept in the wild card series, like, it makes people wonder, well, is this finally the window closing? I believe that the Houston Astros are at least going to be competitive again next year.
Yeah.
I think that they're just going to find a way. After that is when I start to go, okay, what is this front office going to do to continue to be a dominant force in the American League?
Yeah, because, I mean, if you think about their front office as well, like, they have a new GM. They've had a new GM for the last couple of years, and you can kind of see the difference between the old GM and the new GM. Old GM did a great job scouting and developing. Obviously it's not him doing it, but they had the personnel underneath him. And they had a great job trading and bringing in people. I do think about Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole and Zach Greinke in the time when they were all in their primes. And it was just amazing job building that organization. And then in the last little bit, I don't know how much you want to credit the scouting or development, or the GM in general, but it hasn't been that, again, like I said, that superstar level of impact. I like Hunter Brown, too, as a pitcher. He had a good year this year, a little struggling off the top, but, again, credit that coaching staff. But, yeah, it hasn't felt the same. And then the trade with Kikuchi, it was good for them during the last bit of the stretch of the regular season, but you never really got to use him. You didn't really get to. I've always said the trade makes sense if you go on and you make a big run and you have a nice chance at the World Series, but they don't do that. So now you're sacrificing a lot of depth there that you don't have too much of. So we'll see what they could do if they can make some smart moves this offseason. They're gonna need it.
Yeah,
they're gonna need
100%, man.